returned to the church house when I couldn't grieve, and between the rows of empty pews I found a hollowness that I could never leave. The place was dim, but I could still perceive the spots worn in the pews, lighter, round. I returned to the church house when I couldn't grieve and found the air so still one might believe no soul had ever been there, not a sound, a hollowness that I could never leave, though desperately I wanted to. Receive salvation mocked the books stacked all around. I returned to the church house when I couldn't grieve, but found I couldn't grieve there either. Relieve my suffering, begged Jesus, thorny crowned. The hollowness that I could never leave ballooned so large I hardly could conceive of it, pressing on me, pound by pound. I returned to the church house when I couldn't grieve this hollowness that I could never leave.
Little red moons, fragrant marbles pocketed, softening against my skin. In the sharp grass behind grandmother's house, neighbor boys waited to grab their rubies from my skirt. Thrives in poor soil, not to be found in markets. Children thieve the berries from low-growing trees in backyards or sidewalks, leave nothing to the birds. In English, Jamaican cherry, Panama berry. In Malaysian, cherry kampung, meaning village cherry. In Spanish, cacaniqua, Olaina yamanaza, Liguito, Nemizo, Capulin. How names mean nothing till you've rolled them on your tongue. First, the juicy pulp against your palate. Once in Mexico, I glimpsed a basketful from the window of a taxi. Aratiles. You can't say it without hearing rain on the roof of your mouth, rain rattling the panes of an empty house. On a boardwalk, a whiff of cotton candy on salt air brings back the grits of 100 yellow seeds.
Mundane most pained, but worsened for worry. In the blurry tube arcs the ray in its literal, invisible halo. Always a hallowing to know. Early missionaries couldn't have abstraction from the concrete for the Chinese, as each discarnate dwelled in Hanzai, materialized in symbol. Here, my body's remade, pixel by grayscale pixel. And still, nothing more defined for me inside of me, though the oncologist circles the sentinel node and offers his fist to illustrate. Here's the church, here's the steeple. How the body fates itself by how and what it divides. Just look at all the people.
In the Cadillac, Ben sleeps next to me. I nudge his shoulder and he snorts, then opens his eyes. Snow, I say, both hands secure on the wheel. I see, he says, stroking his chin. Remember Nebraska, I say? 12 inches in 12 hours, wasn't it, he says, his offstage voice particularly undelta today. Makes Colin Powell sound like a gangster passing around the 40. Was a time when I liked it, snow, I say. Ben rolls his head toward each shoulder, wipes clear his eyes. Used to get some now and then in Clarksdale, St. Louis too. Always a surprise though, and it was white, pretty and gone by the next morning. Puts me in mind of Sonny Boy, you know, 9 Below Zero. Were I in Ben's seat, I'd play the first few bars. As it is, I have to settle for humming. Everything puts you in mind of Sonny Boy, Ben says. He's got me there. Sometimes I think it's a good thing I was born when and where I was. Had I actually crossed Sonny Boy's path, my admiration for him would have made me run his errands, break up fights between his ladies, pretty much walk off of buildings to keep that man happy. Ben sits up straight, yawns, then dials down the heater. Makes me think of Bigger Thomas, the morning after he killed that girl. I glance from the road in his direction, eyes closed. He taps a long finger against his upraised chin. What was her name? Mary something? Dalton, I say. Recalling the name easily, though it's been years since I read Native Son in Dr. Jeffrey's Black Studies class. I got an A-. The scene Ben's talking about is easy to visualize. Bigger waking up to a world full of white, an actualization of what he's felt most of his life. As I consider sharing this wise reply, Ben says, "This is too grim." He opens the glove compartment, rattles a cassette in its clear case. I can't see the title as he punches it in the player before I agree or disagree. "Here's something more appropriate," he says. In the brief silence, I try to guess his selection, keeping in mind the many surprises he's capable of. I'm expecting jazz, maybe some Basie or Ellington. Since he's worn out Miles Davis, he usually goes backward. But when Nat King Cole's silken voice croons, "Chestnuts roasting on an open fire," I shake my head.